My best bet for week 3 Thursday night football as the New England Patriots travel to MetLife to take on the New York Jets. Smash that like button if you were with me on the Falcons from our last video. Outright winner. If you're stumbling onto this page for the first time, welcome. My name is Peter Appel, and this channel will be the home for all of my NFL picks moving forward this season, next season, for the rest of our lives. So hit that big red subscribe button if you're into that sort of thing. And I would greatly appreciate if you weren't here for the Falcons and you're just here for the first time, like the video early. And I'd also love to hear about your picks in the comment section below. Last video, responded to them all. I'll do the same here. So let me know what you think about my pick for Jets versus Patriots. A reminder that this channel is sponsored by BetMGM. It is the perfect time to use promo code JustGridiron for a first bet offer up to $1,500. Deposit at least $10, and if you lose your first wager on MGM after using code JustGridiron, you'll get it back up to $1,500 in bonus bets. However, gambling problem? Call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 21 years or older. And of course, terms and conditions apply. The look ahead line for this game was Jets -7. So our job is to determine whether the sports books made the proper adjustments after weeks 1 and 2. Did the market overreact to the Patriots' success through the first 2 weeks? Or do the Jets need to be downgraded after the defense has been a little bit lackluster? Or maybe even a little bit of both. So what forced the move in the first place? Well, the Patriots not only beat the Bengals in week 1, but they kept it real close with the Seahawks as they went into overtime and only lost by 3 points. You can even argue they should have won that game against Seattle. With 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter, the Patriots had an 87% chance of winning the ball game according to ESPN's win probability metrics. And on the Jets side, they suffered a brutal loss to the 49ers in front of the entire world on Monday Night Football, but then they did rebound to beat the Titans 24-17 on the road. It was a decently close game as the Titans had a chance to tie it before the Jets defense stopped them in the red zone on fourth down. So, just based on watching from the first 2 weeks, I think it makes sense to bump the Jets down a point, right? Or even a half point. However, I think that there is context needed to truly decide whether to knock the Jets down. The Jets played the 49ers in their home opener, a team Aaron Rodgers has historically really struggled against, and the 49ers had the entire offseason to prepare. Trent Williams, Debo Samuel were in, and the Jets just could not contain that offense. I don't think any team in the league would have kept it very close with the 49ers in that exact spot, maybe except the Chiefs. The next game, they won by a touchdown, and that suspect run defense held Tony Pollard to 3.6 yards per carry, while he averaged 5.1 against that Bears defense, who everybody is calling really good, and held Tajay Spears to 3.3 yards per carry. The long touchdown pass from Will Levis to Calvin Ridley was also kind of fluky, as the coverage was really sound. The man just made a big time play. Shout out Calvin Ridley. But the Jets also scored 24 points against a pretty solid Titans defense that didn't allow one touchdown to the Bears in week 1, and the Jets earned all 3 of their touchdowns. I don't think I can downgrade the Jets because of their performances, but again, I wouldn't bump them up either. My opinion just hasn't really changed. Now let's look at the Patriots, because we took the Patriots versus the Bengals under in week 1, and we discussed at length how Joe Burrow in week 1 is terrible compared to what he normally does throughout the season. He was still dealing with that wrist injury, and there was no T. Higgins. The Bengals defense is also not a good unit, and all the Patriots had to do was run the ball 25 times with Ramondre Stevenson, and credit to them, they had a lot of success. But I don't view that as a win that makes me necessarily bullish on the Patriots. I view it as the Patriots taking advantage of bad trends for Burrow, a bad wrist, and the Bengals' inability to stop the run. Even though the Patriots beat the Bengals and lost to the Seahawks, I was a little bit more impressed with the Patriots against Seattle. Hunter Henry and Jacoby Brissett had a great connection, and the Patriots' run defense was really solid. They did allow Geno Smith to have a really awesome game, which makes me a little bit more nervous about the Patriots' defense as a whole. However, they did put up 20 points against the Seahawks. But then I remember that the Broncos, with Bo Nix in his first start on the road in Seattle, where it's a really tough place to play, also put up 20 points. But overall, nice performance. It just doesn't move the needle for me a ton. With all of that being said, the play on the field, but the context intertwined with it, I would bump this line down to 6.5. The Patriots did impress enough to warrant a bump in their direction, But my opinion on the Jets hasn't really changed. So 6.5 feels like the right number if we're grading the last 2 weeks only. Let's decide if we should bump it any further based on the matchup. And we got to look at the spot because, of course, it is a short week just to see, is there any value on either side? We all know that the Patriots have dominated the Jets in the past. They've historically owned them. But it's hard for me to put any stock into that, considering that it was a lot of Brady and Belichick. And when it wasn't Brady, the Jets' quarterback room looked atrocious every single time. The Jets did win 17-3 the last time they played them. It was a battle of Bailey Zappi and Trevor Siemian, I think. I'm not going to draw any conclusions from that win for the Jets or the Patriots wins in the past. So basically, I said all that to say I'm not adjusting based on history. Let's just look at the matchup. The Patriots want to run the football. It makes sense, right? They really don't have any weapons on the outside, and Jacoby Brissett is not exactly the quarterback that you want throwing 35 times in a game or 40. We've heard the Jets' run defense is suspect, right? So the Patriots should have success on the ground. However, I'm not buying it. They did get torched by the 49ers, but again, held the Titans very well and made Will Levis beat them. I also love backing a unit that I think is very good and performed well last year that hasn't been performing through 2 weeks. All they're going to hear leading up to this game, the defense is the weakness. Maybe the Jets' offense is better. They can't stop the run. But with a home crowd behind him, stacking the box, I don't think Stevenson is going to have a great day, and the books really don't think so either. I'm looking right now. His rushing prop is at 65.5 when he is averaging 100 yards per game so far, and he scored a touchdown in both games, plus 135, the same odds as Garrett Wilson. So the books don't see a great game from Stevenson. I think there's a reason that Ramondre Stevenson's lines are very, very low. Because of my analysis, I think the Jets are going to fully stack the box, just like they did against Tennessee. But what that does is it creates a lot of one-on-one matchups on the outside. But here's the thing. I love how the Jets defense, especially this week, sets up against those type of matchups. We had DJ Reed and Michael Carter coming back. And then, of course, you have Sauce Gardner in that secondary. Overall, I think this is going to be a vintage Jets defensive performance after they've been disrespected leading up into the game. So I think the Patriots are going to have a really tough time running the ball against a stacked box. And I don't see the Patriots playmakers who don't have a ton of talent being able to outdo those one-on-one matchups with guys who are very, very good in the secondary. Conversely, I think Aaron Rodgers is going to have a ton of success through the air against this Patriots offense. The Patriots, through the first 2 weeks, have the sixth lowest pressure rate in the entire league, which means Aaron Rodgers is going to have a lot of clean pockets, right? The 49ers, who we already faced, they have a high pressure rate. And the Titans, though, are below average. And we saw the difference of how Rodgers performed against the 49ers and how he performed against the Titans. But this should be his easiest matchup to date because while the Titans don't get a lot of pressure, through 2 weeks, they rank ninth in dropback EPA. That's against the pass, the ninth best unit. And the 49ers rank 14th. So not only do the Patriots rank outside of those, they rank 17th. Rodgers is going to have the least pressure against him of any of the weeks so far, with the worst secondary he's faced. The Patriots' run defense, though, is very good. And I think that's going to make Rodgers be the key focal point of this offense. But just because the Patriots have a really good run defense, does that mean they necessarily stop Breece Hall and Braylon Allen, one of the best running back duos in the entire league? So based on everything that I've looked at into this matchup, I think it definitely leans towards the Jets, so I'm adjusting back up to the key number of 7. Last but not least, let's talk about the spot, which is very, very important, especially on short week Thursday night football. And both teams are not in a very good spot. The Jets are playing their third game in 11 days, right? They played Monday Night Football, Sunday, back to Thursday. Definitely not a good start for them from a scheduling perspective. We don't really have a history for teams in spot like this, so I don't really have any trends for you, but I think what we can all agree on, it's definitely a negative. Now, while that spot stinks for the Jets, I think the Patriots spot is worse. And we do have a trend fading teams like the Patriots in this spot. Per Evan Abrams of Action Network, over the last 20 years, teams to play in an overtime game and then have to play on 3 days rest or less, so Sunday to Thursday, versus a team who didn't play in overtime the week prior, 6-18 straight up, 3-21 against the spread. That is an 87.5% cover rate, saying that we should take the New York Jets. Another spot that I don't love for the Patriots is Gerard Mayo as a rookie head coach on a short week, not a lot of time to prepare, tends to go poorly. You can easily argue that it doesn't really matter in this spot because of his familiarity with the Jets, but you could also argue that he's never prepped for an Aaron Rodgers led Jets offense. Regardless, being a rookie head coach in this spot does not make me feel good about his ability to scheme up an excellent game plan to stop Rodgers. Also, I'm not the biggest person that's into referee stats, but I'll only bring them to you when they are complete outliers. And John Hussey is an outlier. He is the best referee for the home team in the NFL. Home teams against the spread with him at the top, 85-57. That's a 59.9% hit rate. And that's absurd. And again, I only include them when they are absurd. And that clearly is. And he's proven over a 160 game sample that the home team is who you want to back when John Hussey is at the helm. I also think that there's some psychology at play here. We were on the Falcons, but the public got destroyed with the Eagles. The last Thursday night game, we had the Dolphins, and we got crushed by the underdog Bills. Underdogs of 6 or more so far are 8-0 ATS. You even talk to Jets fans. They don't want to back the Jets at this price. In my experience, when a line seems big and it's uncomfortable taking the favorite, it tends to end in a blowout for that favorite. I think it's big for all the reasons I laid out, and I think it should be even bigger. I think the Jets win this game with a strong performance on defense by a score of 24-13, covering the 6 points with relative ease. Now, while I am on the Jets, I want to highlight an intriguing prop as well. I've partnered with Rithmm, which is a new app that uses AI and data modeling to predict props and game outcomes. Their model really likes Demario Douglas over 21.5 receiving yards for the Patriots. It's tough for me to get there with 0 targets in week 2, but I think he's the most talented receiver on the team, and I think the Patriots are going to make it a point to target him after going away from him last week when it was clear he was open on big chunk plays multiple times. I need to see it first, but if you want to follow the data, that's a great prop to drive into. Now, go to the link in the description below of this YouTube video to access your 7-day free trial to Rithmm for more prop and game predictions. So all in all, I'm taking the Jets -6 at home. I think MetLife is going to be jumping, and I think Aaron Rodgers and the Jets defense has their best showings of the season. And the Patriots, I just don't think that they're going to be on the field enough in order to put up points. I like the Patriots team total under as well instead of the full game under because I can already see it. Aaron Rodgers having these methodical, long drives like he always tends to do on prime time, just sucking the lifeblood out of the Patriots. Jets 24, Patriots 13. Let's win our second straight pick after the Falcons on Monday Night Football. Why not us?